everyone. I'm Ashley Eckstein. Most of you may know me as the voice of Ahsoka Tano and also the founder of Her Universe. And this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Greetings, fellow Whovians, one and all, and welcome to a special edition of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Today is August 9th, 2024, celebrating the second year of Podcast Day, the Doctor Who Podcast Day, and we all want to celebrate. So all those independent Doctor Who podcasts out there, we celebrate you, including everyone here at The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So if you know an independent podcaster out there, like ourselves, we want to welcome you, thank you, and we hope you enjoy out there because there are tons of Doctor Who podcasts out there that we would like you to check out. And today we're going to be celebrating, I don't have the team here with me because today we're going to be celebrating a special Best Of edition. If you're not familiar with our podcast or you're new to our podcast, welcome again. We are celebrating Doctor Who Podcast Day. Now, if you haven't heard of it, this is the second year that it's happening, and this is in celebration of all the independent Doctor Who podcasts out there. Today's episode is brought to you by LI Who Plus, featuring all those guests out there: Colin Baker, Fraser Hines, Mark Strickland, Yee Jee Tso, Daphne Ashbrook, Nicola Bryant, gosh, I get that wrong, Jacqueline King, Colin Spall, Terry Malloy, Jonathan Watson, Dominic Lynn, and Jason Hillary. We have a special discount code that we're going to be running for you. If you go to longislandwho.com in New York and use promo code DWPD 2024, you can save $19 off your ticket admission at LI Who. So again, get now on Long Island Doctor Who. For those of you who are not familiar with it, it is in New York, and you will get $19 off of your ticket. Please use this discount code and let your friends know who might be in the area, and please let them know that the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. Long Island, LI Who, or better known as Long Island Who, will be taking place August 23rd to the 25th at the Holiday Inn Long Island in Holtsville, New York. So get your tickets while they are hot, and please don't forget to subscribe. You can see the scrolling link down below at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, as we are celebrating more and more of you coming to our Facebook page, all 23,000 of you on our YouTube channel, and growing up to almost 75,000 on our Facebook page. We've come a long way since about the four or 5 years that we've been doing this, and we can't do this without you. Let me go ahead and get us started. And without further ado, we're going to be pulling up first Sadie Miller, who plays if you're not familiar with Sadie, you're probably familiar with her mom, who played Sarah Jane Smith, Elizabeth Sladen. She now has taken over as Sarah Jane Smith in the audios, and she is spot on, a spitting image vocally of her mother out there. What we're going to do is what we call best of bits of the TARDIS, our best of segments out, and show you what we're all about. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and please do so now. Subscribe at The Legend of the Traveling, youtube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And without further ado, here's Sadie.
What was your relationship with Doctor Who growing up? Because I'm right in thinking, because we're relatively around the same age, and growing up when we did, Doctor Who wasn't on the television at all. It was what I think fans call the wilderness years. And so I remember when I got into Doctor Who, not many people, certainly nobody at my school, even had a clue what it was. And obviously, you coming from that background, and you would obviously, your mum was very involved in that community. And as we know, Doctor Who and that community were really active in the time when it wasn't on the television. What was it like for you kind of growing up at that time?
I think that's really interesting. Yeah, because obviously, it wasn't on television at all. But there were still kids in my school playing, Daleks and stuff in the playground. And I always kind of got roped into having to play Doctor Who with them. But yeah, I was never really that interested in it growing up. And I think like getting older, I have more of a respect for not just the program, but the people behind it that, or the writers and producers, Philip Hinchcliffe, Dougie Campfield, days gone by right up until present day. I watched it a bit with my mum, but I think as a child watching Doctor Who with her, the person that was on screen, it was almost like seeing a relative of my mum, because she didn't look like that anymore and she didn't talk like that anymore, but it was still somehow her. Like when you show your own kids photos of you as a baby, they're like, who's that? What? So I never kind of connected it until a bit later. But yeah, isn't it weird that our generation, I guess, is, since the program started, is the only one that really has this massive gap of just no one. And then when was the Paul McGann film?
96.
Yeah, I guess that must have been the closest that we ever got to having a doctor.
Which is really
Could I just ask?
Yeah.
How old were you, Sadie, when it dawned on you of how appreciated or famous your mum was, and even to some extent your dad? And what was it? Because I read an article recently that Charlotte Barker, who was Ronnie Barker's daughter, only registered with her when they were in Paris viewing the Mona Lisa, and she noticed that people were staring at her dad and not the Mona Lisa.
Oh wow, that's a lovely story. I think because of the conventions, by about 5 or 6 years old, I kind of was like, okay, so there's this thing called Doctor Who, and people want to meet my mum because of it, and there's this big blue box that people keep coming in and out of, and okay, this is what's going on. But when I was younger, really, my mum did an advert for Iceland. So before Kerry Katona, there was Elizabeth Sladen, and she was like the archetypal mum character doing a lot of these adverts. So people would just shout at us in the streets sometimes, like, where are you going on your holidays? Iceland, thinking they were very clever and stuff. So it was just more embarrassing, really. But when you're a child, your parents are just embarrassing anyway, aren't they? No matter, I guess if you're Shiloh Jodie Pitch, you're like, oh, my parents, so embarrassing, going to Malawi again, like, I think that's just kind of how it...
Well, some parents pull out the old Polaroid pictures. Your mom pulls out a commercial.
Yeah, totally.
Hello, my name's Sylvester McCoy. Welcome to the legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and today we are celebrating Doctor Who Podcast Day. For those of you who are just joining us on the show, we are celebrating by promoting, this has been brought to you by Long Island DoctorWho.com, or LIWHO, better known as. Use promo code DWPD 2024 in celebration, and you will get $19 off of your main ticket. Again, these famous Doctor Who celebrities will be out there. They will be taking place August 23rd to the 25th at the Holiday Inn Long Island in Holtsville, North Carolina. Again, Long Island DoctorWho.com. And today we are celebrating Doctor Who Podcast Day, and what a lovely day it is for it. Speaking of which, we've got another interview. Actually, the man who will be out there with Yee Jee Tso. So he will be out there at Long Island Who. And we continue our Bits of the TARDIS, sponsored and brought to you by TheRatHole.ca. Okay, it's showtime, and folks, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to boys and girls, all Whovians of all likes. This is Christian Beza, the legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce our special guest tonight. You recognize him, most of you, from the TV movie The Enemy Within. It's Yee Jee Tso, who played Chang Li. How you doing there? How you doing there tonight?
Not too bad, thanks. Hanging in there.
Yee Jee, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got that role in the TV movie.
So we're auditioning for this thing. It was down to the last two. I was told there was two of us going up for this thing after 3 rounds of auditions. It was me and another fine Canadian actor here. And I, at that time in my life, I was very bad at managing time. And this audition was at the studio out in Burnaby, and there was some distance to travel. And I don't know what happened that day. It was raining. It was dark. It was lots of traffic. I was irresponsible, so I was very late. I was very late for this audition. I probably, I want to say, like an hour late, and I blew it. Completely blew it. So I went in there. I was late. I didn't really think there was any chance that anything was going to happen out of this thing. So I was like, I'm just going to do my audition, whatever. Like, there's nothing I can do now, right? So it just did the audition, and somehow, whatever it was, days later, whatever, I got noticed that I got the gig at a convention. The first convention that we did, or one of the first conventions that we did after the show, I was sitting on a panel with Philip Siegel, and somebody in the audience said, how did you pick Yee Jee for this role? And he told the story of me being late from their perspective, and he was like, well, we were always looking for this quality about the Chang Li character where he just doesn't give a damn, like he would just like devil may care, like didn't give a damn about anyone kind of thing, and had this attitude, and that's what they were looking for the part. And they thought that the way that I was late and then didn't really seem to care about that, and just kind of did the audition anyway, and he said that was the clincher for them. That's what did it for them.
You brought a level of authenticity to the character nobody else did.
Did you know when you took on this role how it changed your life from before it happened to what it is today now?
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared for, say, going to conventions and events and stuff like that, even like 20 years later. Like there was that was the 50th anniversary BBC, big special that was on. It was a pretty major sort of deal. They had, it was an event space in outside of London. There was like 20,000, 25,000 people there. It was like a big deal, and I would never have imagined when we shot the movie that was in my future. Just it would never have occurred to me, but there I was 20 years later doing that. So oh
this is the Doctor Who role-playing game, the source book for the 8th Doctor.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
How do I get one of those? My kid would go crazy. My son loves RPG.
Cubicle 7. They're Cubicle 7, Irish company.
Okay.
Well, we can talk after.
Let's talk after. I need to get a copy of that.
Do you consider yourself a villain?
I think he was the villain maybe to start off with, and maybe he was a villain afterwards. We don't really know what happened to him. I think there was definitely a point in there where he saw the light, so to speak, either literally or figuratively, I guess, because there was that scene where it was very light around their heads, and like isn't that what happened? Yeah, there was at the end there was the reviving of, anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really feel like he was a villain per se, but rather misguided. Is that too naive? Is that too like I don't know. He was led down the wrong path, whatever.
The reason I asked that is one of my earliest episodes with the Traveling TARDIS here was the spookiest villain or scariest villains, and I actually chose Chang Li.
Yeah.
Because he basically just went down that path. It's like, oh, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Master, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
there was much discussion after when he brought that up.
There was much
Yeah.
discussion after.
The look on everyone's faces was absolutely glorious, and then we got a few. Okay, yeah.
I chalk that up as a win. I think that's great. I wish I was there. I did actually end up being endowed with that jacket afterwards, the Chang Lee jacket, and I subsequently just wore it out. It was like my going out jacket. I would just have the thing on, and just no clue really. I was just whatever, just blah blah blah. And then I threw it in the closet, and it became something that I couldn't really sport anymore. Like that kind of jacket. I don't know if you guys remember. It was made by an Italian company called Destroy, and it was popular with like sort of raver kids in the 90s. And it was like silver with like an orange stripe and these black, it was like this shiny thing. And as soon as I hit my like 20s, mid to late 20s, I couldn't wear that anymore. I mean, it just looked so, in the closet it sat. Andrew Beach from the BBC was showing Paul the costume from the movie. He had just recovered, probably for a lot of money, Paul McGann's costume from the original wardrobe designer on the show. And I went to Andrew and I said, do you want the Chang Lee jacket? and he said, well, yeah. I ended up just donating it to him because I think it kind of belongs with Paul's stuff, and Andrew's spent a lot of time kind of collecting all those things in one place. And I think his eventual goal is to have it be at the British Museum, which I think it's a good home for that. So I did get something from set, but it ended up, I think, in the right place.
Yee Jee, tell us a little bit about this book and what started, because you told me, but I wanted to hear other people to hear about where it came from and where they can purchase it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So back in the day, we did not have the same kinds of like NDAs and agreements that they make us sign on shows these days. And so taking photography, making photographs of on set was not, they didn't think anything of it, right? And photography itself was different back then. Like I had this Nikon FD metal heavy thing, film SLR that I would bring on set, and just put it on something and set the timer and take a photo. And some of the photos worked out and some of them didn't, because you wouldn't be able to tell until you took the photos in to get developed or whatnot. So and I didn't think much of it. It was like just something I did. So I years later I don't know, I never even thought about it. I just had assumed that stuff was gone. And then it so happened that we had some stuff when my mom moved from Vancouver to Toronto. We ended up somehow having some boxes that she had like in our garage. And this box has my script and just all of these artifacts and my photos from the set. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go around and take photos of these places that the way they are now, like where these sets were, where these locations were. I'm gonna go and get some photographs of them today and put together a book with then and now photos, and I'm going to try to tell some stories about each one of these sets, and make it a bit personal and put it together in a book. And so that's what that is. It's time and spaces, these spaces where we existed 20 years ago when we were filming there, and then what they're like now.
Oh, that's cool.
Definitely working on getting another edition out for sure. By the time the 25th anniversary comes around, we'll definitely have it available. Thank you.
I think I can end the broadcast. I think everybody's out tonight.
Hello, I'm Sadie Miller, and this is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
And welcome back to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, celebrating today Doctor Who Podcast Day. If you're not familiar with it, this is celebrating our second year. This is a tribute to all these independent Doctor Who podcasts that are out there, including us, and we want to celebrate by giving you discount. to Long Island Doctor Who. Use this promo code. It's a Doctor Who convention located, let me pull up the banner up there, in the Holiday Inn Long Island in Holtzville, New York. It's going to be taking place August 23rd to the 25th, and you can save $19 off of their admission ticket using promo code DWPD2024. Again, that's DWPD 2024. And please make sure you tell them that tell them that I accidentally hit a wrong button. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS has sent you. And again, my name is Christian Basil, and today we are celebrating our podcast and Doctor Who Podcast Day by bringing you the best of clips that we've had in the past. What we call Bits of the TARDIS, which was brought to you by TheRatHole.ca. And hold on one second. It's coming. I accidentally hit the wrong button. I'm here by myself, so everybody's taking the day off. But let's just say the next episode, next bit is Sophia Myles, who played Madame de Pompadour from The Girl in the Fireplace. And things that could possibly go wrong may have gone wrong, including a cookie that Melanie was trying to eat during the show. Sophia Myles. I've been corrected. I've been having a 10-year mistake on the other interpretation of that name. So everybody, the correct way to say her name is Sophia. I've been corrected, and I've corrected my 10-year mistake. So I apologize to Sophia about this. And I want to welcome everyone to a special edition of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Thank you so much for joining us. My name, again, is Christian Basil. Oh, God. I put the wrong face on there. And how are you doing there, Mackenzie?
I'm doing well, except that my camera does.
Oh, my God. This is the greatest episode so far.
By some definition.
Well, Sophia, we're actually professional.
It's fine.
Oh, Lord.
Don't worry.
Well, let's see if Mackenzie straightens out of there. Speaking of straightening out, let me go ahead and bring in Dave Chapman.
Oh, my God. Back
How are you doing there?
I'm doing fabulously. My camera keeps cutting in and out too, but I figure I'm taking advantage of in Las Vegas.
Yeah, let's see this is Vegas.
So,
Let's see.
Oh, wow.
Get out of the way. Let's see this background thing. Get that chair out of the way. Oh my goodness, that is lovely.
How hot?
Yeah,
how hot is it?
Nobody wants to see me. They can look at that.
And back to Mackenzie Floor. This is when she's not frozen like a popsicle stick. There you go. That's what. Speaking of things, because you know my segue skills, the lovely Melanie Dean, co-host of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You can check out her Instagram.
But that's what happened. I don't know. It's probably
cat.
feline. I'm guessing, but yeah, my nice.
Oh my goodness.
What on earth?
Very chewy.
Yeah, so that's why I jumped in. I'm like, I can't.
But I've realized, like, the tooth fairy, when I was a kid, kind of brought like 10p.
Right.
And I gave him a £5 note under his pillow. Like,
Oh wow!
Inflation.
that's like,
Inflation.
yeah. But no, he's really well, really, really well. Thank you for asking.
No problem. Oh, I saw you playing Nerf gun on your Twitter feed with.
Yeah.
Luke.
we had a bit of a Nerf war battle outside.
Philip Davis says,
has Sophia suffered any Nerf strikes? No, but he does always like aim for my head. He takes great delight in that. Yeah. And like with me, he's like, "Mummy, you're only allowed to aim below my knees," and then I'm like blasted in the head. But no, I grew up with a younger brother who was Oliver, who was 3 years younger, and I was very much like a tomboy when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like, I'm much more comfortable playing like boys games than like I wouldn't be very good playing with Barbies if I had a little girl. I never owned one. I thought they were disgusting creatures, Barbies. I didn't understand them at all.
Oh no.
Really? What were your favorite? What was
So
your
I'm just
favorite?
reading the quote. Was the tooth lost because of your Nerf battle? No. It just,
Everybody's watching your Nerf battle. Actually follow Sophia.
And he would have been thrilled, by the way, because whenever I used to make movies when I was younger and I'd go and do press and interviews, you know, I'd come home and he'd be like, you know, did you mention me? And I was like, of course I didn't mention you. Like, you got what? Why would I mention you? And then bizarrely though, when he died, so CBS News picked up on the story, I think, because I'd been on Twitter, and then also the big English news channels. And so my dad suddenly became like globally famous for dying of COVID, you know. So he kind of he got his wish, you know. He suddenly had his, you know, his moment in the spotlight. So it did make me smile.
A moment where you just look up and go, see, are you happy now?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you did it. Eventually you did it. They're all talking about you now.
The lovely Madame de Pompadour. I gotta ask, were you a Whovian before you got this role?
No. No, I mean...
All right, that's it. We're getting rid of her.
I am now, though.
Okay, we can solve this too.
Yeah, we can just not...
Ta-da! See, that's that problem. All right, bye.
No, I did it. It was on the television. So yeah, but then I did take much delight, you know, with these girls that bullied me at school. When I was about 19, I got offered a role to play Johnny Depp's wife in the movie From Hell. And I remember at the moment that I was kissing him thinking, I hope you're watching now.
Our chats, when we return, we're going to be talking about Sophia, more of her career, and I'm only trying to find that button again. On the button. We're professional. Trust me on this. When we return, we're going to talk more Sophia. And for those of you just joining us, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling
I was almost asleep.
We had another commercial for eating a cookie. It's good. It's a half-pound cookie, and it's s'mores flavored. It's s'mores. I thought we had another.
Oh,
I've had so much fun editing this down to a bits episode. Oh my!
I'm so sorry.
My name is Christian Basil. That's Sophia Myles. Melanie's really hungry.
It's delicious. Graham cracker and chocolate.
By the way, Melina, we just go
nice.
Melina, thank you for joining us. There's Mackenzie Floor and Dave from TheRatHole.ca. I know we got a ton of questions. Make fun of her all you want, but this is why Melanie gets sent candy care packages. She's great advertising. Kevo,
going through this. Dave, is it dark out there yet? Is it Vegas dark? No.
Wow. Please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. Where is that?
Why do you have a candle up to your head?
Well, I'm going to explain, and I know it's early for Sophia. I know it's 10 days away. And I didn't have time to get a cake. So everybody in the chats, everybody sing with me. You know what I'm going to be singing. Everybody, you ready for this? Happy birthday to you.
Nobody else is singing. Wow. That's
a little more fun not to.
You guys don't know the lines here, really?
So fine. Sorry, I was going to say me and Melina could go in Spanish.
I can go in Spanish. Feliz cumpleaños.
That's so sweet, guys.
Birthday to you.
Oh, you've got the voices of angels.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Weeping angels.
Weeping angels.
I'm not done yet.
So, Sophia, because I couldn't get real candles, go ahead and blow out the candle virtually. Just. Absolutely.
Hello, I'm Nick Briggs, and you're listening to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I say traveling time Lord.
Do it again. Just do it again. Just for the go. Okay. Just for the sake. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nick.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Briggs, and this is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, our special edition celebrating Doctor Who Podcast Day. Today, August 9th, this is the second anniversary of Doctor Who Podcast Day, celebrating all those Doctor Who indie podcasts out there. And don't forget, in celebration, we have a special discount code for you on August 23rd to 25th. LI Who is having holiday at the Holiday Inn Long Island in Holtsville, New York. They're celebrating and see all those wonderful Doctor Who stars out there. Get your tickets now at longislanddoctorwho.com. And don't forget to use the promo code DWPD 2024. Again, that's DWPD 2024. And definitely tell those folks out there that the Legend of Traveling TARDIS sent you. We have one more clip for best of the best of TARDIS. It's been a long day, so I apologize if I'm a little bit sleepy out there, but I hope you're enjoying these best of clips that we've done. And we want to thank you all for getting us to this goal of 900,000 views. And we're slowly closing in on that 1 million views. And we can't do this without you. We now have an audience on YouTube of almost 24,000, and we're closing in on 75,000 on our Facebook page. So many of you, and we can't do this without you. We love to entertain you and bring you all this wonderful stuff. Speaking of which, we've got one more video coming up. Let me go ahead and bring that up. And this one is with Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor. Enjoy. Hello, fellow Whovians. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and I have a question for you. Is there a doctor in the house?
I'm a doctor, and the one you're expecting. This is Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor. This is the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, the 100th episode.
But you're not here for the 5 of us. You're here for this gentleman right here, the wonderful and talented, the 8th Doctor. You know him so well. I know him as that guy that fought the 3 Musketeers in that Disney film. Mr. Paul McGann. Mr. Paul McGann, welcome aboard there. How you doing there? Welcome to the show.
It ain't so early for me. It's kind of lunchtime here. I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah. Sorry to get you all up so early.
No, this is an honor. I know the 5-hour difference is miserable.
I tell you, it's an honor to be on the 100th episode.
But you've been appearing a lot on social medias now. How does that feel? At least it gives you the outlet, Paul, to interact with people you haven't talked to in a long time. Because I saw you on GalaxyCon and you were hosted by good morning, Billy Bonnet Hoovian. You were hosted by my friend Patty Hawkins, who's actually a friend of mine down here in Florida. And I
always imagine everybody knows each other anyway. Everyone in North America knows each other. You know, I was.
Do you think that's something that you would consider going on to if for a while we have to continue to stay locked down?
Permesso.
That was an important call too. I
just get rid.
No, that's fine then.
Oh, he's disappeared.
You're alive.
He's back.
There he is.
I can guarantee you that won't have been my agent.
Oh,
with work. He says in a downbeat way. What we're talking about, the online conventions, I'm really glad of them. And who wouldn't be? You know, they've and as I say, I think they'll certainly for the next year or two there'll be, and even when we're back traveling, I think they're here to stay. I think there's going to be, and there should be, perhaps a mixture of both. You know, we'll certainly meet in real places, in real venues, in real rooms, but we'll also do this kind of thing. Because the technology is here. You know, we're all getting sort of quite good at it, and it more than fills in the gap. It's really good. It's useful. I've really enjoyed it so far. I didn't think I would, and I'm glad, and I am. I like it. We need to contact each other. We need to meet, and this is a hoot. You know, and like you say, here you are. You're doing your 100th show, and we can do this. What an age we live in. We should be thankful.
Paul, well, you can't. Paul, you still can't see us, right? No,
I can hear you.
I wonder if a different browser would popped up and minimized this.
It's possible. Yeah, that might be a possibility. We can fix that a little bit later. We're actually holding up all of our merchandise Paul McGann related in some form of fashion for all to see. Our friends Mark and Dave, they're holding up the Doctor Who books. They both have the same book. Which book is that, Dave? Mark?
That's the role-playing game. This is it was still branded as Adventures in Time and Space, but this is the 8th Doctor source book from Cubicle 7. So it's an entire game book of Paul's adventures.
Dave, Mark just one-upped you. His is signed by somebody.
It's signed by Paul.
Signed by
Paul. So you've been continuing the 8th Doctor's adventures online. I'm sorry, not online, but in audio format in Big Finish there. What has been your most enjoyable experience with Big Finish?
Well, you mean across the years?
Yeah.
Or recently.
And you got to work with your son Jake in a couple of the
other that was years back, and because that was a thrill.
Yeah.
And of course, and in the story, what was it? The Unearthly Child, wasn't it? In the story, of course, we were related, or at least it wasn't either. I'm confused myself now, but he was the grandchild.
I believe Jake plays your great-great-grandson because he's the son of Susan. Susan has a child.
Yeah.
And I won't go into it too much, but you got to listen to the audios, because once the Doctor finds out he has a great-great-grandson, he's wondering if he's human or Time Lord.
And that's enough. You don't need to tell them.
No more. I'm not even going to go further than that.
That's enough. But one of the elements I like about that, even now talking about it and thinking about it, because it reminds me of the episodes I watched as a child on TV, and knowing that the Doctor had a family. There were relations, and they spoke of them, and I kind of like that. It's because it's not something that's emphasized much these days, but so it was a kind of throwback, and I like that. And of course, Jake was there in his first gig as an actor, and he was wonderful. He was wonderful, but just don't tell him I said so, because he gets
Mum's the word on that one.
A bit bashful, but no, I love that. But so that was a real highlight. I think as well, what you just said about spoiling stories that we made, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's possible because, I noticed, particularly after the few years back when the 50th anniversary film went out, around that time, because it was around this time of year, wasn't it? October, November. And that's when there was a real boom, a real pickup, particularly in North America, with the Big Finish audios. It was almost as if a collective penny dropped, and suddenly people really got into them. Of course, there's such a backlog that, as you've just described, there are people still. And I know when we meet, often fans go, well, given that there's 20 odd years of it, where do I start? Where would you start? Would you start in the middle? Would you go back to the beginning? Would you? And some people they're trying to go from, 2001, 2002. And I mean, when you think I personally, we all do them. Personally, I've done 200 plus, so there's quite a few to choose from.
Technically, you're the longest running serving Doctor, even out doing Tom Baker now. Just for the audio.
Is that right?
On the audios, I think somebody had mentioned that you had done more stories than any other Doctor.
I'll take that.
Just how much content is out there.
I don't think I'll ever stop doing the audio work, because it's and particularly where the 8th Doctor is concerned, that's where he lives. He doesn't. Well, sure, it'd be wonderful if at the behest of Jodie Whittaker, particularly, I was able to certainly be invited back and join in. That would be fantastic. I'd drop everything, but it'd be great to be back on screen. But when you think the 8th, aggregately, I've been on screen as the 8th Doctor for about 2 hours. That's it.
An
hour and a half. That's it.
A question.
But all of these, the 8th Doctor really is it's an audio Doctor. Isn't it now? It's just worked out that way. Yeah, like I said, we start a new box set in a few weeks. So it goes on, we carry on. Incidentally, I was going to tell you the title of the next box set, and it's called The End of the Beginning. That's a good title.
Yep.
The End of the Beginning. What does that mean anything to you? If you hear that phrase, the end of the beginning, what does it make you think of?
I'm
The
thinking
reason
like-
I ask is because in England, it usually makes people think of Winston Churchill. Now, the Allies, including the United States, who are now in the war, win their first decisive battles against the Axis, blah. Churchill says to the British people on a radio broadcast, he's, while he's glad to announce the first victory of the whole war against the Axis powers, he says, "Don't think that it's the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning." This is where it comes from.
Okay.
There you go, for you history buffs out there. So, like I say, we tend to get everything through a sort of Churchillian funnel here. I'm just saying. It's, love to everybody. Stay safe.
Yes.
They're the only words that matter. Stay safe. Look after each other, and till we meet again properly, which I look forward to enormously. And one day this will be over, and we can hopefully laugh about most of these days. But I look forward to that immensely. But in the meantime, honestly, stay safe. One love. Mwah.
I'm Eric Roberts, and this is the legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
And welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. We've been hoping you've been enjoying all those best of, created from Bits of the TARDIS, sponsored by our friends over at TheRatHole.ca, and especially our friends over at Long Island who have given us a discount code for you if you want to go join them at their convention. Again, this will be taking place August 23rd to the 25th at the Holiday Inn in Long Island. The Holiday Inn Long Island at Holtzville, New York. Again, go get your tickets at longislanddoctorwho.com. That's longislandwhodoctorwho.com. And use promo code DWPD 2024. Again, DWPD 2024. Use that code to get $19 off of your ticket. And tell them, again, the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. And we're hoping you're enjoying your Doctor Who podcast day. Again, celebrate and look out for those folks over at you can actually go to the Facebook page. There is a Doctor Who podcast day on Facebook. So if you want to check out all the Doctor Who indie podcasts out there, go to their Facebook page and check them out there. Speaking of checking us out, don't forget that we're going to be at Ancient City Con, September 13th through the 15th at the World Golf Village Renaissance Resort in St. Augustine, Florida. You can get your tickets there at ancientcity.com. And not only are we hosting Doctor Who panels out there, we're also going to have Dalek Hal making a special appearance if you want to get your photo with him. He's fully moving. He's everything Dalek. He can light up, he can talk, he can walk, he can fire. He's an incredible Dalek out there, and you want to check him out if you've never seen Dalek Hal. It's a treat. And don't forget to check him out on his Facebook page at facebook.com/Dalek Hal. I just want to thank you all. Really, I want to thank you all for being with us on this journey, on this ride, or this legend that we are creating together. And we had so many people along for the ride that it's just incredible. And we're hoping as we grow throughout the years and more episodes come up and more conventions that we go to, the more we grow as a family of Whovians. And thank you so much, everybody. And don't forget, before you leave, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. That helps the algorithms, and that helps us grow out there. Tell your friends about us over at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS at Facebook. You can see it on the bottom half of your page there. You can subscribe at youtube.com, the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and also check out our Facebook page at facebook.com, the Traveling TARDIS. Thank you all for joining us. We can't wait to continue our new adventures with you. Next week, we will be reviewing School Reunion this coming Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific, and 11 p.m. UK time. So from everybody here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, have a happy Doctor Who podcast day. Tony, take us out.